Hello there, my friend. Welcome to another live stream. My name is Amner Hunter from amnerhunter.com. Happy to be here sharing with you this cool new freebies. One of them, it's a new free VST. The other, it's a new free promotion for a limited time. And I'm gonna check out also and share with you a couple of great deals that are going on at the moment. As usual, I will leave all of the applicable and downloadable links in the video description and first comment. And also, I will leave you timestamps in case that you are watching this video after this live stream ended. We're going to be checking out this cool channel strip by Airwindows and the developer Chris. This is the CStrip2, available for Windows, Mac, Linux, and also Pi systems. We're gonna be checking out this free limited time promotion, 1 month of this cool compressor, 1176 inspired. It's called Smasher by the company Pulsar Audio, and you can get it for free here at Plugin Fox, 100% off. As you can see here, 29 days remaining. Next, we're gonna be checking out this awesome reverb, one of my favorites lately, by SSL here at Plugin Boutique. It has 93% off, $17.99, and we're gonna be checking out also this cool deal on the Izotope RX Elements audio repair and noise reduction plugin, the Elements version, with a 75% off at the moment, $33.25. Let me know if you are here in the chat or in the comment section as well. I will be happy to know your opinion about these plugins. Let's move on here to my DAW so I can show you their features and the sounds as well. So first, let's begin with the new channel strip by Airwindows. As all of the Airwindows plugins, a very simple graphic user interface. He doesn't use like artwork and stuff like that on the GUI to save CPU power, but they sound great nonetheless, even though you don't have visuals. Audio, it's what matters, right? So this channel strip, let's analyze it quickly here with this Birdom EQ curve analyzer that it's free also. You have treble, mids, and bass. So it has an interesting EQ curve where you are not only boosting the treble, you are also removing a bit here in the lower mids, right? So interesting curve. By the way, if you double click on any control, it resets by default the mids, boost or cut. And this is an interesting frequency range to choose from in the mid area, because I have found that a lot of a lot of instruments might be benefited by this cut on the 500 hertz range around that area. And on drums, very common to use this, on bass guitar as well. And yeah, that's the mid range. The bass, it's a low shelf, and you can choose also the frequencies with this bass frequency, but it's a low shelf no matter where you put the frequency, right? And same applies with the treble that you have, where you have here a treble frequency control where you can choose the frequency. So interesting curve, very musical. And then you have a low pass or high cut. and also you have a high pass or low cut here. I'm not sure what's happening up here. I don't know if it's an harmonic or something, but this plugin also includes saturation, but it's included in the output. I'm going to talk about it. After the EQ section, you have the compressor, right? This is the threshold where you start to compress the signal, and you have the compressor speed of the attack, right? More aggressive compression to the right and less aggressive compression to the left. And here on the output, something interesting happens, where from 0 to 0.33 it's a regular volume, but after this it starts to add saturation and harmonic distortion. The only thing that I would say that it's missing is another output or something, or gain compensation, because when you start to increase this, you don't have it starts to increase the volume as well, and you don't have an output or another gain compensation control to control that. So that's why I have this gain control here to show you, to compensate when I am adding the saturation. So here 3.33 starts the saturation, 0.33, sorry. All right, and so let's use it here on these drums. I'm gonna turn off the frequency analyzer plugins, and I'm gonna use this gain control just to compensate. Let's check it out. Okay, the highs. And you choose the frequency here. Then the mids. Yeah, sometimes, or most of the times, I find myself cutting around 500 hertz area, which is where this mid control is affecting. A lot of boxy frequencies can be found there, especially in rock and metal, and especially in live kits of drums, bass, some weight. Okay, the high pass, removing lows, and the low pass. All right, let's start to compress. More aggressive compression. A ton of punch. You can hear how the impact is preserved. So it's a very musical compressor. It doesn't kill the transient or the initial spike. It enhances it. Enhance it. Sorry. Okay, and let's start to add saturation. I'm gonna compensate compensate a bit with this. You start to notice the saturation. Hear it on the kick drum. Alright, that's the CStrip2 by Airwindows. Let's move on with the next freebie on this list, the Smasher by Pulsar Audio. Also, I like to use this type of plugins that have very aggressive compression but very musical, and it also adds some harmonics, because this plugin, it's inspired in the 1176. It's modified and it's more extreme than the 1176, but I love simple tools like just two knobs, right? I love this type of compressors because you don't need to, especially if you don't know a lot about compression, release times, attack times, knees, things like that. You have only the input and the output and a mix control and the VU meter that measures the gain reduction. So yeah, pretty simple. With the input, you're gonna start to feed the compressor with the audio source, and with the output, you just control the volume out of the plugin. It has some presets as well, but it's like a compressor limiter, I would say, and it works great on vocals as well, on bass guitar to control a lot the bass, very dynamic bass guitars. And yeah, on vocals I love it. I'm gonna also test it on vocals. Let's check it out. Awesome. And all of that compression brings up the sound of the room as well, right? Let's add more compression. Great on overheads as well, room microphones. Before. And the mix control to blend the unprocessed and processed compressed signal. 100%. Of course, it's very extreme right there, but we can use some parallel compression at 50%. And with the output, you level match the input and output, right? Pretty cool. Let's check it out on this vocal track that I have here. This part of the song, especially the vocal, is very, very dynamic. It's not working in the song, because if you see the waveforms, right? And let's hear it without the compressor.
Complicates your life is the reassurance of why we'll be alright. Never been so sure.
Right, you hear a lot, some phrases, words jump out a lot, and others get buried in the mix, so it's very, very inconsistent, the vocal performance. So let's fix that with a ton of compression. Don't be afraid of compressing like 15-20 decibels of gain reduction. I was watching some videos of pro producers, and they were having like 30 decibels of gain reduction in multiple instruments because they needed it, right? Do what's necessary, even if it might seem a bit too extreme sometimes, but in this case I'm gonna use extreme compression, and this one is perfect for that. Let's solo the vocal.
I would never want to complicate your life. It's the reassurance of why will be alright.
Right, and it has also a fast release time, so it recovers quickly to compress the next part of the signal. Like you see here, like 20 decibels of gain reduction.
To complicate your life is the reassurance of why will be alright. Never been so sure.
And you can make the vocal sit so much easier and faster in the mix.
I would never want to complicate your life. There's the reassurance of why will be alright. Never been so sure. Never been so sure.
You hear more every detail, every word. Listen here.
Never been so sure.
The vocal gets buried here at the end of this phrase.
Never been so sure.
Right, so pretty cool compressor by Pulsar Audio. Let's move on. Let's leave the compression there. And let's move on with the next plugin, the first paid one on the list. Actually, let's check it out here on this vocal track as well. The SSL native Flexverb. I love this plugin because of one feature that I'm gonna show you in a moment, but I have shared this video before here on the channel. Maybe you have watched it. If not, this plugin has become one of my favorites because of this feature. Let's begin here. You have the early reflections and tail of the reverb, right? And you can blend with this control the reverb tail and the early reflections. And you can choose different reverb types for the early reflections here: room, hall, plate, chamber, for instance, size of the reverb. And you can also choose a different reverb type for the tail of the reverb. Pretty cool. The same type of reverbs available, and also the sizes of the different rooms. And you can link also so that they are the same, right? Pretty cool. I like to have a blend of here in the middle. I think it's great, but do as you prefer. You have the pre-delay, then the diffusion in percentage as well, the size. You have you have here the size of the room, of course, but you can choose also in percentage of that general overall size of the blend or mix of both of these. Then the reverb time, which I think it's important to have it depending on your DAW's tempo or on the tempo of the track. You can very quickly calculate this with an equation like 60,000 divided by the tempo of your track. 60,000 are the milliseconds in a minute divided by the tempo, and you're gonna get like the amount. It's gonna be a good amount for the time of the delay or reverb in this case, and you can multiply that by 2 times 2 times 3 or divided by 2 that result, I think it's important to calculate that. And you have also the modulation of the reverb, the rate, and the depth. You have here the EQ section with some EQ moves that you can apply to the reverb itself. You can remove some lows in the reverb, for instance, some highs as well. And you have here the frequency roll off. You change the different bands down here, and yeah, pretty cool. Also, the main feature that I fell in love with this plugin is this sidechain compressor internally. Instead of like sidechaining the reverb, doing some complicated routing stuff, you have here the sidechain, so that the reverb it's not gonna be in the way of the performance. You can have like the reverb only on the tails of the vocal phrases, for instance. Very, very useful on vocals mostly, where you don't want the reverb be in the way of the main performance, right? I want the reverb in the tails of the phrases. So with this threshold, you turn on the compressor, and with the threshold, you start to add this sidechain compression to the reverb, and this will reduce the reverb in the parts where the vocalist is not singing, only when it or in the tail of the phrases, right? So it fills up the space in a nice way. I'm gonna check out that in a moment with this example. And also you have here the dry wet functionality and the output of the reverb also, that I think some plugins don't have an output of the reverb, so you need another plugin or the fader or something. But I love that this plugin has the output as well to compensate, because when you add reverb, most of the times you lower since the vocal gets a little bit to the background with the reverb, you add space and that and all that, you lose a little bit of volume, and you can compensate it with the output. So pretty cool. You have some interesting presets as well for different sizes and rooms, things like that. And yeah, let's check out here this by default preset. And
I would never want to complicate your life. It's the reassurance of why we.
All right, so that's the default.
I would never want.
That's the early
I
reflections.
would never want.
Reverb tail.
I would never want.
You can have a nice blend of both.
I would never want.
Cool pre-delay
I would never want.
to separate a bit.
I would never want.
Cool. The diffusion.
I would never want. I would never.
All right, more diffusion. The
I
size.
would never want. I would never.
All right, the reverb
I
time.
would never want.
Longer.
I would never want to count.
The modulation. And let's do some EQ here.
To complicate your life is the reassurance.
Removing a bit of low end, and also we can remove some high end.
I would never want to complicate your life. It's the reassurance of why we'll be.
All right, pretty cool. Very necessary to EQ the reverb as well, and we can do it internally.
I would never want to complicate your life. is the reassurance of why we'll be.
All right, and my favorite feature, the compressor. Let's turn it on, and you choose here the ratio: 4:1 fast, 3:1 medium, slow, also 8:1 more aggressive, the sidechain compressor, and you see here the gain reduction. So let me show you. You lower the threshold, and you start to see the gain reduction here. You notice how the reverb comes back when the vocalist stops singing. Right, and it's not getting in the way of the original performance. Let's check it out without it. The reverb, it's all the time, right? And with this compressor,
to complicate your life is
only in the tails, for instance here.
never been so sure.
We have the tail, and it fills up nicely the empty spaces, right? So let's check it out, for instance, without the compressor here on this tail.
Never been so sure.
Every word or phrase is with reverb.
Never been so sure.
Yeah, pretty cool. So that's the SSL native Flexverb. Pretty cool reverb with 93% off at the moment. So let's leave the reverb there. Let's move on with the next plugin here on the list by Izotope, the RX version 10. This is the repair tool by Izotope, where you can DS any instrument. Also, you can de-reverb, meaning that you remove reverb out of a source. For instance, if you have a ton of room sound when you're recording vocals or something, you can remove some of that room reverb. And you can also denoise, so you remove some background noise in speech or podcasts, or even in the vocal performance as well. Declip, to remove some clips in the audio. Declick, to remove some clicks also. And I don't know if it removes also some pops in the mix or in a performance or speech as well. And you have the controls to add percentage of that certain of set effect, right? The esser, the reverb, and this big one in the center, it's for the denoiser, right? And you can also listen individually each effect in action, or listen what's going on with each one with this icon of an ear. And you can choose here the element that you are processing, like vocals, musical, some instruments, guitars, things like that, bass, and also percussion or sound effects as well. You see here how it changes some of the features here. For instance, this the harsh, also to remove harshness. And yeah, for instance, here on percussion, you have a tone control. These plugins can be found as well separately. You have, for instance, the declicker, declick. You have dehum, right? Separate. But this plugin is pretty cool. That the one that has the assistant, repair assistant, it's called, and you can click here on learn, and it will analyze the audio, and it will give you a result that it's beneficial for your audio, depending on the problems that it might have. For instance, let's analyze this vocal track that I have here. Let's choose vocal first, voice, and if we hear this vocal track without it,
I would never want to complicate your life. It's the reassurance of why will be alright. Never.
all right, let's see what happens with this plugin, learning the signal.
I would never want to
Okay, it takes some time for it to analyze, creating a suggestion.
Will be alright. Never been so sure. I would never
Start again.
to complicate your life. It's the reassurance of why will be alright.
Maybe the denoise, it's a bit too extreme.
I would never want to complicate your life. It's the reassurance of why will be alright.
All right, let's, for instance, DS this vocal.
I would never want to complicate your life. It's the reassurance of why
The S's,
I would
right?
never want to complicate
Reverb.
your life. It's the reassurance.
I left on purpose this reverb to hear what the D reverb it's doing.
I would never want to complicate your life. It's the reassurance of why
Right, it makes the vocal sound dry. I'm gonna turn off the compressor. Let's suppose that you have a vocalist that recorded in a room, untreated room that has a lot of reflections. So this could be
I
useful.
would never want to complicate your life.
And this reverb, it's might be extreme for that example, but you get the point, right?
I would never want.
The clip, let's check it out.
I would never want your life.
The clip, all right, and the click, or some clicks that might happen. Yes, you hear some clicks sometimes.
To complicate your life is the reassurance of why will be alright.
Right, this audio, it's not like super bad recorder or something, but you can fix, repair stuff with this. Pretty cool, the Elements version. Let's check it out quickly here on these guitars to listen to the harsh control.
I would never want.
The harsher in action. Before. All right, that's the RX by Izotope. Please let me know down below in the comment section or here in the chat what do you think of these plugins. Mark Lee Wilkins says, I am here, paid 10 for the Smasher a year ago and used it a lot on the Drum Crush bus before Extressor Nuke came around. Wow, a ton of great free compressors. I'm sorry you paid $10 for that, Mark. But anyway, Alexander says, ¿cuál es el tema que usas en Reaper? Alexander, estoy usando Neptune 6. Neptune 6 con número romano. He asked about the Reaper theme that I am using. It's the Neptune 6. Google it. You're going to find it there. Amner, says Gary Thompson. Amner. Hello, Gary. How are you, my friend? DJ Emo says, scooped the Flexverb for the 15 euros. Awesome. Yeah, pretty affordable. I have the native G bus, the native channel strip, the drum strip, and the Xcomp, so may as well add the verb for that deal. Awesome. Yeah, I love SSL plugins as well. I have them, not all of them, but I have like 3 or 4 of them. Also the strips and the compressor and saturator as well. So there you go, my friend. Thank you very much for watching the video, and remember that I have some freebies on my website, free PDF guides and ebooks for music producers and guitar players, also some tools such as some collections of guitar impulses, among other utilities. And finally, don't forget to check out the blog or this channel, which I am updating weekly with tons of free content. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks again for the time you spend with me here. And yeah, cheers to all. Cheers, DJ Emo, as always. Handshakes to you as well. Thanks a lot. And I send you a virtual hug to you all. Thanks a lot, my friends. Take care and have a great weekend.